Mandla, today we are discussing how to build high-performing teams to support your vision. What has changed in the world that makes this an important discussion?
Yeah, thanks, Amanda, for that question. When I started my career, and that was in 1997, the idea of a high-performing team wasn't new then. But what is different about today's world in the year 2024 is that the pace of innovation has increased phenomenally. We're seeing new technologies coming out at a rapid rate, such as artificial intelligence, which is the latest buzzword. Our world is also a lot more connected, and also the lifespan of products has changed significantly. Products are becoming redundant fairly quickly, and companies don't last as long. So it's become more important than ever to have a high-performing team to navigate a world that is incredibly complex.
What exactly is a high-performing team? How would you describe it?
A high-performing team is apparent from what it achieves. It, above all, achieves its desired results. And as a leader, if you work with a high-performing team, you find that when it comes to understanding your vision, they fully understand where you want to go and why you want to get there, and their roles within that path to implementing your vision. A high-performing team also is results oriented. So everything that the team does is really geared towards making sure that it's achieving the key performance indicators that you've set out. There's little time wasted on non-critical activities. There's a culture that really seeks to achieve and outperform. And a high-performing team also has diverse skills, which are actually complementary within the team.
And how would you know that a team is not a high-performing team?
The first thing that you'd see would be missed deadlines, and that's easily visible internally and externally. You might find that when you've got a project, you're always running behind, and there's inefficiency as well. You end up consuming more resources than you thought you would consume. And linked to that, you end up with a lot of internal team conflict. Things don't go according to plan, and team members are blaming each other. It ultimately results in a team that is toxic. There's a low level of engagement, and with a low performing team, it's almost impossible to implement innovation because innovation requires you to step out and do something very different from what you were doing before. A team that is not focused on your vision is going to battle to understand how to work differently for a new innovation.
So would you say a high-performance team is a team that work well together, definitely?
Yes, yeah, they work well together. If you look at the sporting world, the teams that succeed and win leagues and win trophies, they start by having very good individuals in the team. But when you've got a team of 11 in soccer, for example, no matter how good your striker is, if your defense is letting in goals, whatever your striker does will be redundant because a team will just concede goals. So it's about a team where there's chemistry within the team. Everyone moves together as a unit. They know how to act when they're under pressure, defending an advantage during the game, and they know how to go on the offensive together. So it's people who walk a journey that is a together journey.
Teamwork.
Yes, teamwork.
How does a leader start the journey to create high-performing teams, would you say? Where do you begin?
It begins internally with the leader, because if you are not a high-performing leader, it's almost impossible for your team to be high-performing because they'll only go as fast as you go. So if you are the slowest in the pack, you'll actually slow everyone down. So the leader has to introspect understand what barriers could be holding them back in terms of becoming high performing. And it's important that the leader acts not just as a manager, because a manager has a list of tasks that they execute on, but that the leader becomes visionary. They are able to see beyond the horizon and also able to share with other team members what's beyond that horizon that the leader wants them to keep tracking on. The leader has to see themselves as a catalyst for change and a coach to the team. So you're not just there to provide your team a list of tasks, do this, do that, don't do that, but you're actually there to be a propulsion force that actually gets your team moving where they've been stuck. And as a leader, that's also a coach, you are able to pick up the stragglers, identify weaknesses, and how you can improve on those weaknesses. And if you've done that and you've selected a team that share your vision, that are able to work with you, and you know that they are fit for purpose, or you know how you'll help them to change, that's actually a fundamental start to creating a high-performing team.
And what leadership style do you prefer to enable performance as a leader?
Yeah, so it's definitely not an authoritarian structure, authoritarian style, because that creates a whole lot of people who are in a do as I say world. That's not high performance. That's just obeying instructions. So my preferred style would be visionary and a coaching style, writing down the vision, communicating it, making sure that people understand it, helping people understand how they can get there and that it is actually possible to get there. And then the coaching element comes with working with individual team members to understand that they can actually make it to this new level of performance that an organization might be requiring. But look, there's different leadership styles around, and some people are benevolent leaders. Some people lead through compassion and understanding. Some people are technical leaders. Their skill is in understanding the technical elements that need to be resolved and in communicating that. And that's in certain industries a useful leadership style. But yeah, from my side, I prefer a visionary and a coaching type of leadership.
Would you say that emotional intelligence plays a role in team dynamics?
Yes, so I did talk about chemistry earlier, and the thing about chemistry in a team, chemistry is that sixth sense where you understand where you're going and where your colleagues are going. So if you look at a flock of birds flying in the sky, they normally fly in a V shape. As soon as one bird starts turning, they all turn together, and it happens in split seconds. And that's an example of a high performing team. There's no squabbles or debates amongst the birds that maybe one wants to fly left and the other wants to go right. I would apply that to teams as well. For you to all steer the ship or turn at the same time, you need to understand the emotional underplays within the team. As a leader, having a high level of emotional intelligence is absolutely essential because you might end up not understanding why a certain team member is stuck. So it helps you to dig deeper and to find solutions.
Okay, so we often hear of team building days and team building activities, and some people dread them and some people love them. Do they work?
I've typically found to be artificial at times because when you work, you're in a certain environment, and then if you got to a team building day and yeah, let's say you're playing paintball or any one of these popular team building activities. The challenge with that is that you're not replicating the environment in which the team is going to play. And the value then is limited. I think team building days are good for maybe getting to know each other and perhaps sharing things that you might not share in a work environment about your goals and aspirations and what makes you tick. So it does fulfill a role, but you can't rely on team building activities to actually create a high performance team. I'd say it just leads you from ground zero if you are a new team and you've never really worked with each other before, and maybe there's certain cliques within the team that you want to break and get people to socialize.
Thank you for that insight. I think a lot of people have feelings about team building activities, and not all of us are keen. I know I'm not one of them. As we close, what is your encouragement of the day from your book, Conquer Your Mountains?
We are in week 31, which is entitled Jonah and Micah, Walk With Me on Your Paths. And my extract talks about knowing when you need help, and it goes as follows. I had been trapped in a big eggshell. Because the eggshell was higher than I was tall, I just couldn't get leverage to crack out of it. I knew I would have to grow bigger or get something to stand on if I was to break out. A friend's voice said to me, "You are trying to break out using your own strength. Rather ask God to help you, for his strength is made perfect in your weakness. You will find strength in his joy over you. Your heels are worn out because you have been trying too hard in your own strength."
That's beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Mandla. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Amanda de Wet, and I am the Senior Editor at Luca, the faith and inspiration imprint of Penguin Random House, South Africa.
And I am Mandla Moyo, the author of an inspirational book called Conquer Your Mountains, as well as a science fiction book called The Fallen Angel.